we go. 1, 2, and a big old 3. Hello everyone, Gene here with G Squared Tactical. Today we're going to be talking about the Sig P-938 that has the quote-unquote Legion treatment, they say. We have several other 938s here today. We have my daughter's 938 that she chose to carry when she became of age because she's smart like her dad. And then we have the one that I've carried in my pocket almost exclusively for the last 4 years or so, maybe longer. I have my We the People version of the P-938. As you know, if you've watched the channel, I'm a huge fan of the P-938. In general, I'm not necessarily a Sig fan. I don't really like much else that Sig makes, but they've done something special with this one. And I do believe that it's the best pocket pistol on the planet, okay? When I was in my on my mission to find the best pocket pistol, because it means something here in North Carolina, because 6-7 months out of the year we're wearing light clothing, shorts, and things of that nature. It's hard to deep conceal unless you're going out on the town or going to church or something of that nature. You're almost always pocket carrying, okay? So it really means something. It matters. It is important. In my search for the best pocket pistol, I got sick and tired of going on the YouTube and hearing some guy sit there and tell me what the weight was, what the size, the length of the barrel, all these things that I could read off in a list format on Sig's website in a matter of about 30 seconds, but I got to listen to this dude blab about it, when all I really want to know is why it is that this guy chose to either pick this pistol or to not pick a particular pistol for his application, for whatever it is that he's deep conceal, open carry, whatever he was choosing to use it for, nightstand, hunting, what have you. I wanted to know why. Why did he choose that one, or why would he not choose that one? I didn't want to sit there and hear him tell me about all of the different lengths and weights and trigger pulls and all this other stuff, because again, I could see all of that stuff. I could go in the store and do that if I wanted to. I could see all of that in a list format. So for everyone that likes to hear that, I am going to do that a little bit today, a little side-by-side comparison with some of the different variants. But there are so many different variants of the 938 and the 238, which is the 380, that, you know, it's going to be kind of hard to do a real-life, true world, I guess, comparison, because there are so many different variants, color schemes, equinox. You have different grips and sight setups and things. So, but we're just going to specifically talk about what's different about the Legion, or as they would say, it gets the Legion treatment. Now, it does have these Sig X-ray night sights on here, tritium inserted night sights. Now, I'm not going to say that that is different. My daughter's here does have the X-ray Sig, I think they call them the X-ray Sig light night sights or something like that. Hers is tritium inserted, should I say. Man, I'm messing up some stuff today, ain't I? But it's just 3 white dots, right? So this one here is also tritium inserts, but the front one has a green surrounding the tritium insert, so it picks up very nicely during the day. The rear is almost blacked out during the day, and then of course you'll have the green glow when you're in a low light situation. But again, this one does have night sights on it as well. Looks to be the exact same sights, just a little bit different in the color of the front sight on this one, on the Legion, versus this one. But again, I'm pretty sure I've seen these same exact sights on one of the variants of this one, so I don't know that that is necessarily different, but that is available. Does have, one of the first things you'll notice is just this absolute sexy, what they call Legion gray, almost looks like a green to me. And it does have the Legion logo and the word Legion on top of the slide here, right in front of the rear sight. Again, very, very sexy. One thing that they did put on this one is these tiny cocking serrations on the front here. It does not come all the way up to the top of the slide, but it is very functional, as you can see. So on the older versions here, it does not have those and you really have to put pressure. Your hand wants to slide down it. So they are very functional. Sometimes people put front cocking serrations. They're not even functional, not even usable. I guess one that I could think of would be the ones they put on the top of the Springfield Emissary. That must have been for looks or to cut down weight, because they're certainly not functional. So these are very functional, as you can see on neither one of these, and I'm not sure on any P-938 that has ever had front cocking serrations on there, but this one of course does. It is an all metal frame. As you can see, I do have the Crimson Trace laser up here. Most of the time I think lasers and stuff like that are gimmicky, but if I'm going to buy a laser, it's only going to be a Crimson Trace. I will not get into knocking any other type of laser. I just don't like any other type of laser. I like the Crimson Trace laser. Again, like I mentioned, all metal frame. Does have the G10 grips on here. It doesn't have the old flathead screws on there, all ugly and cheap looking, and it does have the emblem there, the logo, the Legion logo stamped or embedded in the grip on each side. So again, very, very sexy. Moving on down, you'll see that it does have a flared magwell, I guess, magwell extension. I like that. I'm a huge fan of that. I'm a huge fan of a flared magwell on any of my guns. It does make for faster and easier reloading or reinserting your magazine into the gun. So I do like that. However, because of that, your mags that you may or may not have a bunch of extras from your older P-938 will not fit into the gun, not the one with the pinky extension anyway. It will not lock into place because the pinky extension portion will hit the extended mag well here. So however, I will say, I don't know why I'm going to say this, because I don't recommend you do it for all intents and purposes. We're going to say that the magazines from the older P-938 will not work in your Legion, but in a situation, whatever that situation might be, the older magazines that does not have the pinky extension on there will go in there and it will function. But again, if it doesn't drop free, you're going to be in a world of hurt trying to get that thing out of there, because it recesses so far in there because of that extended mag well there. So, I think I covered, well, the trigger is aluminum. I think it's aluminum. Let's just say metal. It's a metal trigger. 99% sure it's aluminum. This one's plastic. As you know, I don't like plastic crap on my guns. But I will say this, that with the serrations on the front of this polymer trigger, I've shot this gun a lot. Never had any problems out of it, okay? But with the serrations on the front of this and a more rounded half moon type shape on this trigger, it does feel better on my finger than this trigger does, right? But this is a metal trigger, so thumbs up. I like metal stuff on my guns, right? So I think that pretty much covers, most of the stuff. It did come with 3 7-round magazines, does have the Legion logo stamped on the bottom of the magazine here. Again, just a little bit more sex appeal. I will say that the magazines from the Legion will fit into your older ones. So hey, take a win where you can get it, right? It will fit into your older P-938s and it will function and lock back on the mag. So, again, take a win where you can get it. If I had one drawback to the 938, let me see. Sometimes this thing can be very, very easy to take down. Sometimes it can be quite the pain in the rear end. Let's see if it'll be easy for us today. That was all right, not too bad. And let's get this spring out. Boy, that thing's under some serious tension. Okay, so when I first got this gun, I didn't know a whole lot about. Again, I was still experimenting, but I had a few cases. Now, it never caused the gun to malfunction on me, but I had a few cases when I took the gun down. Now, I could see where it would cause a malfunction on me. I'm not really sure, but I had a few cases where I took the gun down for cleaning after I had shot it, and this guide rod for whatever reason, is screwed. This piece here that sets up again the back of your slide is screwed on, right? And it had literally came loose, completely came off. So I could imagine that could be quite, a messed up situation, right? In the right circumstances. Now, what I did was I put some red Loctite on there, and it's never came off again. It's been fine. Now, what I noticed is it's exactly the same way in the Legion, which is kind of disappointing. I wish they would have made, this all one piece. So in as much as they might say a one-piece guide rod, it's not, and it's not on the Legion either. And again, that is quite disappointing. I wish they could have changed up however that works, the assembly line, or change it up to where they could have made a one-piece guide rod there, and you wouldn't have that potential. Now they say that they put the Loctite on there and it's not an issue, but again, someone forget at the factory to slap a little Loctite on there, it could become an issue, which is ridiculous, right? So if I have a drawback, it would be that. Now, to get into why I say that the 938 is the perfect pocket carry, you have to understand that I'm OCD, clinically OCD. I don't just say that because cliche or anything. Clinically OCD. I let things, even the simplest of things, drive me up the wall. The perfect anything, the perfect pocket pistol, the perfect open carry pistol, the perfect truck pistol, the perfect nightstand pistol. I put a lot of thought into it. Okay, I started out with the Bodyguard 380. Again, it's a 380. Wasn't a huge fan of carrying that for defensive purposes. Leave the hateful comments if you want to, but it is what it is, right? Just to where I'm actually on a 45 drug. I don't even like really carrying a 9mm for defense. What I have on me right now is a Glock 36 and a 45 caliber, right? So I'm on that 45 drug anyway. So it is a 380, right? But I could have got over that, but the trigger's horrible. And before everybody starts saying, oh, well, that's because, you don't want to accidentally pull the trigger. Well, some of the Bodyguards had thumb safeties on them, so get one with a thumb safety and a better trigger, I'll take that, right? But my wife, I gave it to her and said, well, maybe she can carry it in her purse or something. We went to the range, we shot the gun, she thought it was cute, sexy, whatever. And she almost dropped the gun several times. I asked her what the heck was going on. She said, what is wrong with that trigger? Enough said, end of discussion. Sold all my Bodyguards, trigger's horrible, can't do it, sorry. The LCP-1, the original version of that, it had a horrible trigger as well. It wasn't quite as bad as the Bodyguard, but it was still horrible. Then they come out with the LCP-2, had a lot better trigger. Put that old girl in my pocket, and it rusted out so bad from the sweat in my pocket that it literally left rust stains on the fabric of my shorts. Now I would say, well, maybe that was just yours. Nah, Trey had one as well, done the same thing, completely rusted out in his pocket. Maybe other people that's carrying it in their pocket, maybe they don't sweat, I don't know, but couldn't deal with that. Nope, just couldn't deal with that, right? And also it didn't have a safety, or mine didn't. I don't know if they make an LCP with a safety, but mine did not have a safety. Okay, so that was kind of a minus for me on that. Then I had a Kel-Tec. It looked much like the LCP, but I had reliability issues with it, so we'll just leave that there. I won't even go into any other reason why I wouldn't have carried it in my pocket. Just not being reliable for me was good enough, right? Then I had a 605 Taurus revolver. I actually really liked it. The poly version, very lightweight, nice little revolver. I had the one with the hammer on it. And so, I could reach in my pocket, I could pull the hammer back, and I practiced pulling it out with the hammer. But it would snag a little bit on my pocket and stuff, and I could definitely see a situation where that would happen, and that could be tragic, right? So I went away from that. I got the Airweight Bodyguard 38 Special from Smith & Wesson. Again with the horrible trigger, right? I mean, it's bad enough. Mine had the Crimson Trace laser on it, so that made it a little easier, but it's bad enough that it's a revolver, which is already harder for people to be accurate with. But you know, again with the trigger, I don't know. I've always had beef with Smith and Wesson and their triggers on about every gun they make. Okay, so again, we'll just leave it there. Leave your hateful mail if you want to. That's fine. You know, whatever. So then I just happened to be introduced at that time. I think the 938, I believe. Now again, if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. That's fine. I believe it was introduced to the market in like 2013, something like that, which would have been round about the time when I was really doing this pocket carry pistol search, if you will, right? I seen this, picked it up. The price really scared me off at first. It was kind of pricey, not this Legion in particular, probably one more like this. The price kind of scared me a little bit at first. Went ahead, bit the bullet, purchased one, took it to the range, and immediately fell in love. Why? Because this gun is empty, there's no mag in here. Just a phenomenal trigger. Reset is not super short, not as short as what would be on a traditional 1911, but has a very 1911 like feel to it. Has a nice deep beaver tail here where you can get a nice high grip and not get ripped across the web of your hand with the slide. But where it really comes home is the accuracy. I've never been more accurate with a micro pistol, not even the Kimber micros, which of course I did. Forgot about that one actually. Actually had several of those. All of them was unreliable. Again, I'm not going to bash on Kimber. People get real rabid about it, but mine would not shoot reliably. And even if they wanted me to break it into a certain amount, I just don't know that I could have ever trusted that gun again, being as unreliable as it was, all the way up to 400 or 500 rounds. Stupid, ridiculous, ain't got time for that. Ammo was too expensive. My Kimber micros would not function. Okay, sorry, they just wouldn't. So, but they were accurate when they did function. But as far as accuracy, reliability, I've never had one single failure of any kind on any 938, and I do mean ever. Coming from me, talking about a Sig and not being a Sig fan, you know that really means something, right? Not one time on any of the, well, I haven't shot the Legion yet. We're going to do that real soon, but these two and one other one I had with it was all black with black grips. Never had any problem whatsoever of any kind. Not even once, right? Like I said, a few times I did take them apart and that guide rod had came apart, but it did not cause a malfunction. So if I had a beef about it, that would be it. It's very lightweight, right? It is a 7+1, or I think actually maybe this one might only be 6. But again, what is your other options? Carry a Glock 42 with no safety on it and, you know, put a hole in your thigh potentially? I don't know. But I like the fact that it had the ambi safety. It's a big deal to me. And I like the fact that unlike a lot of other pocket pistols like the DB9, everything was difficult to manipulate on the gun because they wanted the snag-free stuff. If you have it in the right holster and you practice, ain't nothing gonna snag on anything, okay? I like the fact that the mag release was very functional in that it even though it is very flush with the grip, it is still very functional without changing my grip on the gun. And I also like the fact that the slide lock was the same way. You know, it wasn't all flushed up and inset in the side of the gun. I could manipulate it in a case where, you know, I needed to put a new magazine. I mean, I can even manipulate it very easily with a locked back on an empty mag. So I like that in a defensive situation. If I have to reload, I want to be able to drop that mag, or that slide should I say, as quickly and with as little effort as possible. So that was a big plus to me, again, having the safety And another thing, and again, this is something I thought a lot about, but I have seen this. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen this. This is my Magnum Research 1911, this old baby, this beautiful old girl here. But as you can see, with the slide locked back, so let's just assume it had an empty mag in here, slide locked back, nothing in the chamber, right? I have seen people at the range, because you can't put the safety up. The safety kind of recesses into the rear of the slide. Well, I'm showing you the wrong side. Into the rear of the slide here, as you can see. So if the slide is not forward, you can't manipulate the safety. I have seen people put a new mag in at the range, right? Grab the rear of the slide here and move it forward, and as they did that, their trigger finger came down and pulled the trigger. I mean, and it happened so fast. You're talking, and they had done pulled the trigger on the gun, right? I seen it happen so many times. It's ridiculous, actually, how much I've seen it. And this may be something small, but they literally done that. It's like their finger naturally, and that is kind of, feels like, if you ain't got good discipline, that feels kind of natural. But they would do that, and they done messed around and shot off over here. Fortunately, nobody's gotten shot. One thing that I do like about the 938 is as you can see, the hammer's back, the safety's up, and I can still manipulate the slide. So I'm gonna put a live round in here. Don't shoot me, or don't whatever. But as you can see, with the safety up, safety is up, I can drop a live round in there. Safety's up, hammer's back, she's already ready to go. Even if I were to make the stupid mistake of pulling back on the trigger by accident, the safety is up. So I do like that. I do like that feature on the gun. I know that sounds silly, but that's one more thing that I liked about it. But the biggest reason for me, the biggest reasons, should I say, is it had the night sights, steel sights. That's awesome. Sights on most pocket pistols are freaking horrible. You can't see them, can't pick up on them. And again, think about that situation where maybe it's not up close and personal and the sights do matter. You have to always think about that being a possibility, right? I like the safety, the ambi safety. I like the very usable, functional slide lock and the mag release on this gun. I like the weight of it. Again, I like it. It absorbs recoil masterfully. You take that DB9, feels like a cannon just went off in your hand. This is just smooth as silk. Smooth as silk because of the weight. And especially, I can only imagine the Legion with the all-metal frame is going to be even better, right? And I did put a Crimson Trace laser on here. I've always thought that kind of stuff was gimmicky. It does have the, you know, grip. When you grip the frame here, or you grip the grip, should I say, it does have the front grip finger activation here, and I really like it. When I pull it out of the pocket and grip it, it's already on, and you get that Crimson Trace laser on, you know, 20 yards down range, it'll hit right where you got it every single time. So that could come in very, very handy. But I liked it even before I put the Crimson Trace on there. So we had the ambi safety, usable, very, very easily usable, slide lock, mag release, steel sights, night sights, very, very accurate, controls recoil very nicely and carries very well, doesn't move around in your pocket with the right holster. You know, capacity, you know, maybe you don't have as much as, you know, maybe if you're deep concealing or something, but it is a pocket pistol after all. 7 + 1, 8 rounds is plenty of capacity as far as I'm concerned. Again, anyone's going to have a very difficult time convincing me this is not the best pocket pistol on the planet. Anyway, if you don't disagree, tell us about it, comment. I'm sure I left something out. If you have any experience with the Legion, any problems, any thoughts, anything I missed out on, if you don't like it, put the thumbs down. If you did like it, throw that thumbs up on there. Be sure you subscribe. It's the only way we can keep putting these videos up. Again, we really appreciate your support, guys. Thanks, and hope you have a great day.